Hello there and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here as I share a new card featuring the September 2024 Concord 9th release. I love this entire release, and today I'm so excited to share this cute Nutcracker card with you. This is such an amazing die and enamel set, and I can't wait to show you how this card came together. Okay, step one of creating this card is going to be creating this background pattern, and I did that using the brand new Joyful Season Turnabout stamp set. Okay, I'm going to start out with my all-in-one Turnabout Jig. This does not come with the stamp set, so if you don't already have these, you're going to want to add this to your cart. And you can find all of the products that I'm talking about today in the video description below by hitting that More button. So you have a guide here. This is your guide for your stamp. And what we're going to do, where it says this side up, we're going to take off our stamp. Now, not only does this Turnabout stamp have the turnabout, it has different sentiments as well. So you're going to want to be careful here when you pull it off. And you're just going to pull off this one, and then we're going to put the rest of this just to the side that way. The side that you're going to ink up, you want that to face down on top of your guide. And you're going to line up the shapes on the guide with the shapes on the stamp so that you cannot see any of the clear on the outside. All you're going to be able to see if you have it lined up properly is black. That's how you know you have it in the right spot. The other thing I will say is you can't just put it straight down. You really have to manipulate every area to make sure it gets in place correctly and it's nice and flat. So just over here, just going to move this a tiny bit, which means that this up here will probably need to move as well. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now that that's on, I'm going to grab my MISTI and grab my Turnabout Jig. So this is a sticky mat. It has a protective film on top. Don't take this off yet. Put it in the corner of your stamping platform, your MISTI, and line up the X on the stamping guide with the X on the MISTI. Don't touch anything once you get it in place. Close your door and then pull off the guide. Then your Turnabout Jig is on the one at the top. So then that is ready to stamp, and you know that you have it lined up properly. Then you can place your A2 card panel on the A2 guide here. So I'm starting with my card on the vertical with the one in the upper right corner. Then all you have to do is ink up your stamp and stamp. You can do as many revolutions as you want. The more you do, so if you do 1 through 4, you're going to have a lot more pattern. It's going to be like completely filled. If you do, 1, 2, 3 and you stop there, it's going to be less busy. If you do 1 and 3, even less busy than that. So it's just according to what look you're going for today. I typically like to ink up 2 times for each revolution, and make sure that you have your Turnabout Jig right in the corner before you put down your door. There we go. And then 1 is done. I'm going to move to 2, which turns the card horizontally, making sure that's in the corner, and stamp. Then we're going to move to number 3. Make sure that's in the corner, close the door and stamp. And last, we're going to number 4 in the upper right hand corner. And we're going to stamp this twice, again, to finish off the pattern. and look how great that looks. And it is going to soak into that paper and give you a really tone-on-tone look. So this is what mine looks like after it's dry. Isn't that lovely? Okay, while I let that panel dry a bit, I'm going to go ahead and put together my little soldier, my little Nutcracker Soldier. So I have all the bits cut out for his body and face and clothing. So I cut the body out of the Neutrals cardstock. So this cardstock has assorted colors: almond, sand, peanut, hazelnut, cocoa, and espresso. So you can create your Nutcracker in any skin color that you like. So on this one, I did almond, and I did mushroom for the background to give him like dark hair. So the first thing I'm going to do is put on his face and then inlay his mustache and eyebrows. This calls for the tweezers, the reverse tweezers from scrapbook.com to come out, because you got to hold on to these little pieces while you glue them up. So his face fits perfectly there at the bottom of his neck. You just follow the same curvature on the neck to put his face down. Now I'm going to do a little bit of inlay for his eyebrows and his mouth as well. And then his nose. I'm just going to put a tiny little line of glue right there above his mustache and add his nose. Next up is his clothing, and I've given him a rainforest tunic. We're going with a darker green for this one. I cut out his breastplate in pink, and before I put that down, I'm going to stitch through it because I think it will just add a little bit of detail. If you didn't want to stitch, you could always use a marker to draw X's on there as well, but I thought using a little bit of thread would just take it over the top a bit. So I'm using DMC embroidery thread 321. Okay, so I'm grabbing the little breastplate, starting here at the top, and I'm going to pull it through so that there's only a little bit of thread on the back, and then I'm going to put some tape back here to just hold that in place while I stitch. So then I'm just going to do a basic cross stitch and pull that through. There we go. Just a little added detail that you can add to your Nutcracker. Then put a generous amount of glue on there so that you can really hold that thread in place. Next, we're going to glue his hands. And these were on the face die. So the hands and the face cut out together so they can be the same skin tone. The next thing we're going to add is his hat, and it gets placed right on his head above his face so that you know this entire part of his head is going to be covered in hat. I also cut the band on his hat from the gold foil cardstock here at Concord 9th. So I'm going to just pop this right here. Now, my original Nutcracker didn't have any of the enamel pieces added to him, so I cut his shoulder pads from the gold foil and his belt as well, and then I used evergreen for his boots to die cut those. But today I thought it would be fun to use the enamels to add his boots in cranberry and on his shoulder pieces as well. And I'm also going to give him a little bit of and enamel at the top of his hat. Perfect. He is so cute, and I love the addition of the shine on that enamel. It looks great. Okay, the next thing I need to do before I put my card together is just get this greenery. I'm going to double it up. So I've cut it from white and eucalyptus. And I'm going to pop the eucalyptus on top of the white just to give it a little bit more dimension. I also have the Merry Sentiment, which I've cut from gold foil and 2 times in white. So I'm going to triple this up. Now this is nice and thin, so like really tiny little dots of glue are all that are needed. And we're just going to get this layered up. Again, this is another kind of added touch that I think really makes a difference, especially when you have such a delicate sentiment. I think it looks great when you layer it up. Okay, if you watched my release day video where I showed off all the cards I created and all of the sets, you would have seen this oval quite a few times because I love it. There are 2 dies included in the Nutcracker die set that you can cut out the larger and the smaller ovals to give you this beautiful framed oval. And I think that it's perfect for creating shakers, for, you know, highlighting a sentiment. It's just really pretty. So now I'm going to put this in the center of my card to really help my Nutcracker stand out, give him a frame. There we go. The next thing we're going to do is add our little greenery and our nutcrackers. So we want to do those at the same time so that we can make sure that we have enough room for the nutcracker above the little swag. I don't want this moving, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of this down. Okay, now it's time to glue up our nutcracker. And again, we are going to center him right on this greenery. And then we can grab our Merry word and put that right above kind of where his boots are. Try to get it as straight as you can. It's kind of a curved sentiment. There we go. And then I'm going to put my acrylic block on top and just let that sit for a minute. The last thing I'm going to add are the holly leaves and a few berries at the bottom. Just lost my sequins there. And then we can grab some of these berries too. There we go. So there are the berries. And the last thing I'm going to add, just for a little bit of extra sparkle, are some gold sequins. And that is our finished nutcracker. How sweet is that? And I love that you can use just die cuts or die cuts with the enamels to just create some different looks. Thanks so much for watching as I use the new Nutcracker Bundle from Concord 9th to create this really fun card. You'll find links to all of the products that I used to create it, as well as a link to my blog post where I will post a visual supply list as well in the video description box below. Just hit that more button. I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to my channel and you'd like to see more card making videos. Thanks so much for watching, and happy creating, friends.